wanted to see them a bit over pre-season. Whether it was in training or in matches, he's been able to look at all these guys again, Katic and Simpson included. But he must have already had an idea where he had the surplus players, and we know you don't even really have to be the manager to work out what guys aren't getting the game time and that. So, it is a tough part of the game, but football teams everywhere have to keep improving, and we're fortunate enough to play in high levels in Europe.
Unless you're Motherwell.
Well, yeah, and the old coefficient getting dragged down again. Hey guys, we're going to have to do it ourselves once again. We're not making it up when we say everyone else is rubbish. Wish other teams could do more, but they just don't. And it just astounds me. I know that some leagues start before us, and we've been caught out sometimes in the past, but we've always pulled our socks off and then got on with it again, and they just didn't. So, but we've got our own business to take care of next week. So hopefully we can do the business. And I don't want to talk about not being in the Champions League. I know we've got the Europa League guaranteed, but we don't want that this season. We want to get in the Champions first.
All right, we've been joined by Robert for the Port, who's commonly known as Robert FTP. How we doing, Robert?
Evening, Ox. How you doing, mate?
How we doing, mate? What's on your mind, brother? Good to hear from you.
Hi, mate. Cheers. Just in terms of the game tomorrow, just to see your thoughts on the lineup. I've not heard much issue tonight. I know you've had a couple of issues. I was listening to Facebook here, so if you've just got it already, then that's apologies.
No, that's all right. Maybe with some technical, it wasn't your fault, but it's all resolved now. We're back live. But we all see the team pretty similar. We've got I'm in Juicy's camp where I think McLaughlin will start. Bridge thinks that Alan McGregor will start, and we've got a similar back four of Tav, Golson, Suter, Barisic, and then this is we've all got Lundstrom playing with Kamara, with Kent on the left, Wright on the right, Cholak out front. I think he'll go with maybe Scott Arfield tomorrow, but it's between him and Tom Lawrence. But Fox has got it a wee bit more adventurous. He's went with just the one sitting, 4-1-4-1. Yeah.
I can see the rationale behind that, mate. Just obviously, with Matondo being missing tomorrow, I'd assume that Wright will come in to the right-hand side. Mm-hmm. But do you think there's a chance that Lawrence could move it to the right and he'll bring in Tillman in the number 10?
There's a chance, mate. Whether Tillman's match fit. Juicy.
I like that. That is exotic, mate. I think the only
exotic.
The only 2 points that would perhaps make me be called as versus tried and tested. I think we'll see a balance of maybe both. And these new guys can always come on later as well, but that is definitely an option. And we know that Tillman can play in that forward area, number 10 or as a number 9 if needed. So I've got no worries there. And I know Lawrence can go out wide as well if necessary. So isn't it great that we've got the options that we can even think about this?
Go on in, Robert. Give us your full team.
For me, McLaughlin in goal. Back four. Tavernier, Goldson. I'm going to put Sands and Barisic. 2 sitting of Kamara and Lundstrom. And I'll go Wright, Lawrence, Kent, Cholak.
James Sands. Bridgman.
I don't quite fancy Sands on that pitch. Excuse the pun, I didn't mean it like that, but there's something about tried and tested.
So you don't think he's a Sands dancer?
Correct. The guy looks like quite a good player. Got a bit of speed about him, but that pitch is an absolute killer. And I think we need as much experience, people that have actually played on these type of pitches. I'm not saying that Sands has never played in any plastic pitches. All I mean is that the ones that are in our league are quite lethal for some players, so it has been in the past. So we have to be no horses for courses for me. But I quite like Sands, and I don't say anything about him, Barisic is Barisic, and he doesn't like these pitches, but he managed to get on with it and see what he can do, So it's all up to these guys. It's up to these guys.
Aye, it's good. Interesting. Good points, Robert. Good points. We'll come back to you, but we'll be joined by Andy Phillips. How are we doing, Andy?
Good evening, chaps. I think we just need to get out there and put on a good performance. Not even give Tuesday a second thought for me. That's how you get yourself into trouble. We shouldn't be thinking about Tuesday. Will take care of itself. It's all about tomorrow and getting out there and hopefully getting some goals that goes along with it. I think we've got goals in midfield now. I'm still not convinced we've got them up the top. As it stands at the moment, we've only got the one striker, haven't we? So if he gets injured, we've got a problem, short term, haven't we? So just get out there and get the job done. The Sands one that Robert said there, I read somewhere, I think it was yesterday or something, that the Yank managers told him he's got to get game time now. So I don't know if, that'll come into play. I can't see it because I think he'll go with the players that he wants to put in. But, we'll see, won't we?
Aye, we'll see. It'll not be long, Andy. It'll not be long. Robert, you've got Sands and head of Suter. What's your rationale?
I'm thinking of the pitch, mate. I know Bridgman said there about Sands in the pitch, but I think in Suter, he's not long come back from that long-term injury he had at Hearts. He's not really covered himself in glory in pre-season, but obviously West Ham, Spurs, well above the level of Livingston. But I just think to have a kind of steady ship almost, have Sands and his kind of distribution. We've seen it against West Ham, how he can break the ball into midfield, and obviously the goal came from it as well. So just a bit of a different option, and just to let Suter kind of bed in a wee bit better than what he has done. He's obviously played West Ham and then Spurs. But I just think in terms of for his own injuries, kind of career history-wise, that the pitch could be a game too early. Obviously, first game of the season. If it was on a grass pitch, I'd probably be playing Suter. But I just think the pitch has to come into consideration. It's the same as leaving out Ryan Jack as well.
We've said that bizarrely, yeah.
Aye, it's just the boys have got injury problems. You don't want to cause it at the start of the season and then they're missing qualifiers, and before you know it, you're almost at bare strings if there's any other injuries. But if you can play with ones that maybe feel more comfortable on these pitches, it'll give you hopefully a better starter.
I think Sands is neat and tidy on the ball, passes it, keeps it simple, moves it 20-30 yards quite comfortably. Is quick, gets about the pitch, typical athletic American. My problem is when I seen him live at Blackpool, when they had the big striker, Robert, and he played right on top of him, every header, mate, every header. He just...
That's the thing he lacks, mate. It's the physicality of a centre-back. He's not obviously blessed with the height or the physique, but in other aspects, he'll probably out-trump Suter, like you said, distribution-wise. And although it's on the left side and they're both right-footed, it just looks that Sands would be more comfortable bringing the ball out on the right side, the left side, with his right, and driving in or passing it out to somebody.
That's one of the big assets that Suter's meant to have had when he played with Hearts, mate. I didn't see him apart from against us. And he's meant to be really comfortable bringing the ball out for them and starting attacks. And we've seen it against Spurs when they took the ball up the park, Andy. Yeah, I don't know if you remember, he went on a run.
Yeah, I do, yeah. He got caught a couple of times in the Tottenham game, right enough, but, he's getting bedded in. I've got no problem with Suter. I think he's a great player. Looking around some of the sites after Saturday's game there, that some of our fans are totally battering him. I don't get my head around that. It seems to be people that care about our club or are of our persuasion seem to get a real battering when you get guys that don't want to play or are not given what I think they're getting in the team. But that's a different story. I think Suter will be all right. I have him in my team. And Robert just said there, right enough. I did actually say on that pitch, same thing with Jack. You know, I mean, we don't want to be losing him before we even kick the ball, do we? If you get what I'm saying. So I see the logic of him not playing tomorrow, right enough, you know. But who? I'm not sure I'd have Sands in there. I'd put central defence. Nah, but there again, who are you going to put in? You're not going to put Davis in because he's not had any game time at all, are you? So there is a dilemma. If you leave Suter, who's he going to stick in alongside Golston?
I think he'll start with Suter, Robert, but I understand your rationale. Yeah, and the boy with the injury on that pitch, I think he'll start with Suter because I think he's been brought. I think you'll see him a lot in domestic games, if I'm being honest. Bridgman.
Yeah, I think definitely Suter. Definitely Suter. He's played in these pitches before. He's a young Scots lad. He knows the pitches. Obviously, I'm hopeful that he doesn't injure himself, like, you know. But if he's, everybody's got to be a bit careful on these pitches, including Suter. I think he'll play a certainty. I'm sure he'll play.
Could be one of the substitutes Juicy was talking about. Juicy, yeah.
I think Robert's point about Sands there is excellent because he was, I think, somewhat of a dark horse in pre-season. Got quite a lot of game time and played the ball out of defence very well. I mean, in the build-up to one of the goals against West Ham, he started that move, didn't he? And he does lack a little bit of height. You're right, but he's really composed on the ball. And there's talk of us actually making a bid for him because I know it's an 18-month loan, isn't it? Could cost us a few pounds to get him, but I don't think he's let us down much in pre-season. Really, I take the point about Blackpool, so we've got to think about that if he's going to be used in the centre-back role. But he's quite versatile. He can be used in a couple of different positions. And what you said there about Suter's injury and that, I'd actually have no problems in Sands starting tomorrow if he chooses to go that way, because I think he's pretty reliable. And remember, guys, unlike some of the teams who were playing in pre-season, we're going to have a lot of the ball tomorrow. So I'm not so concerned about him having to go up against massive hammer throwers because they're not going to be having that much of the ball, hopefully. I like him, and I wouldn't mind if we sign him. He's had some good game time in pre-season. What do you guys think about that? Because it's coming to that time where we're going to be thinking about buying or letting him go.
Well, I think we're roughly getting the whole season to go, mate. Yeah, you came in last
18 months.
Yeah,
he came in last Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've still got time on that. Yeah.
I think we'll make our mind up this season. Robert, you could be right, and who knows? James Sands could be this year's Calvin Bassey. You never know, Andy, do you?
Yeah, he won't. I don't mind it. I don't. Oh no, it'll be Jack if he stays fit. No, look, I don't mind Sands at all. I think he's one of them what you call a water carrier. He'll do a job for you. But I do agree with what you said there. Just saying he wouldn't be too concerned. Well, if he defends like he did against Blackpool, and you know you're going to get whenever they get an opportunity, that's the way they play their game. So he's going to have to be well on it, well challenging in the air and all that, because when they get the chance, that will be coming in like that. They'll be firing them in. So, but again, like you say, Suter don't play. It's going to have to be him with what he's got available now, because, like we said, Davis will not play, will he? That's a fact, because he's not in the game time at all. But you never know that he might throw a surprise altogether,
Oh, you're right. You never know. I don't think Davis will play tomorrow, but you never know. No. He could be on the bench, mate. You never know.
Well, this substitute thing is like you said, it's good and it's bad, isn't it? We're going to have. I think we're not going to have as many players on Ape because there's 5 on there, and there'll be big players that should be on the bench that could come on and then take a claim. They start playing well, and somebody gets injured and they get in the team. But like you said there, you can get them going out, kick 10 bells out here, and then say, right, we're going to take these 3 off here, then we're back down to scratch again. It takes out that possibility. If you're at it, you can walk, doesn't it? Kind of thing. So it's a plus and a minus for that with the 5 subs. I'd like it to be all traditional years, just a 3 that we could use, but they keep tinkering about with it now, so we just have to go with what the rules are at the time.
I know. I suppose the worst thing for you is if they make your goals bigger.
I'm not responding. I'm quite calm. I wasn't there yesterday after that line in that Robertson statement right enough. I was spitting and kicking everything at school right enough, but no, I'm quite calm today. I'll just take what's coming right enough. I never know when I come back whether I'm going to get hammered again, so I'm just going to try and work it out this season.
Listen, mate, you throw them out. You throw them and we'll hit them. It's up to you, mate.
I know. I think it's that WhatsApp group, man. They've absolutely battered me the last few days. I'm on my guard.
Thoroughly deserved, by the way. Thoroughly deserved.
It's not me. It's you guys who lead me on.
Right.
I think the word you're looking for is grooming, Andy.
It could be. Aye, well, I'll leave it at that.
Right, okay. All right. Look, we're in a good place. We're in an improving place, is more like the words, Robert. With players coming back, potentially, you never know. Alfie could appear on Tuesday, the way the gaffer was talking in the press conference. So all of a sudden, a lot of the riddles that we had 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, are starting to be solved.
Absolutely, mate. And obviously, the news about Alfie potentially being involved in Tuesday's a boost to everybody, I think, as well. And I think it might even give a boost to Cholak as well, to get to know that the star striker is almost fit again, and he's got a crack at obviously the game tomorrow to start and try and make a decent name for himself. He's done nothing wrong in pre-season in my eyes. He's done very well, looked very sharp in all the games he's played in. He got his goal against Spurs, which I thought was massive in terms of giving him a wee kind of extra motivation. He's got the goal, he's got the fans cheer, and he's got the feeling now. So hopefully he gets a lot of kind of game time before Alfie's back to full fitness and he can kick on. But you also want your top striker available, and it's better sooner than later. And like you say, other players coming back from injury as well. Lowry, I know Hollander's still a couple of weeks away yet, but there's still players that Roof as well, aye. If he's here after this window, then we don't know yet. Obviously, there's still murmurings about going down south, being on loan. So there's still a long time to go in this window. So I don't think we're the finished article in terms of ins or outs yet, possibly. But like I say, improvement, and people are talking about a big, massive rebuild. It's not been the big rebuild we all expected or predicted. Mm-hmm. It's been the positions of we needed, which has been the vital part for me. It's quality more than quantity.
If you think about it, we've brought in Suter, who can play right defence. Well, he's played in the left, obviously, and can play right back at a push, I suppose. We're bringing in Ridvan, who can play his left back. We've brought in Lawrence and Tillman, who can play an attacking midfield role. And you've got Cholak and Rabi. If they were all to start, mate, you maybe got, and Ben Davis, you could have a team with Tav, with Suter and Davis, with Yilman, and then you could have Lundstrom sitting with Tillman and Lawrence in front of him, Cholak up front, and Rabi on the right. So I'm not saying it will happen, but it could happen. So there's been evolution, Robert, yeah?
Aye, mate. Like I said, it's been quality as well. It's not just adding players to the squad for the sake of it. It's been areas that we needed. We needed that right-sided player. We've got Matondo, who is a high-quality player in my opinion as well. So he's young. He looks like he's desperate to get going. Obviously, a wee setback with the injury, but hopefully he's fit again for maybe for Tuesday, if not the second leg. So he's got bags of potential. Lawrence, I think, is a great bit of business on a free as well. So there's definitely quality there, mate. It's not like it's been of years gone by where we've just added numbers. It's been numbers of quality this season for me, and very young, promising, talented players as well, with the experience coming in as well of Lawrence and Davis. A good mixture.
Yeah. Right, last half hour of the show. Come and join us. Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Andy, you've had a long time to think about it. Give us your team.
My team for tomorrow, right? Shagger, Tavernier, Golston. Go on, Suter. I'm going to go with Suter. Obviously, it's going to be Barisic. In the middle, it will be the Scouts guy, Lawrence and Kamara.
What was his name again?
Big John.
John. Carry on.
The two wingers will be, obviously, I think it'll be Wright and Kent now, and obviously up top it'll be Kulak or whatever he's called, like Kulak or whatever his bloody name is.
Kulak. What was your midfield? Lundstrom, Kamara, and who else? Lawrence?
Lawrence, yeah.
All right, okay. Mate. I think you're pretty similar to a lot of people, and a lot of debate. But some debate about, not a lot, but some debate about who'll start between McGregor and McLaughlin, Andy.
Yeah, well, I've just got a funny feeling about do I think Alan should start? No, not really, because, I mean, he said his goodbye in the Scottish Cup final there, and it kind of, he must be thinking, John must be thinking, what the hell's going on here, if that's the case, right enough. But I've just got a funny feeling. I've read something there that apparently they've had him doing all kinds of things, the Shagger, like, and he looks very fit and all that, and like I said, he hadn't put saves off. That scoreline would have been a lot different on Saturday. He's still got that, but then again, if you looked at a couple of the kick-outs, they were terrible, weren't they? They were, you can't kick him out, you can't put balls out like that. He's not the greatest, but you can't put balls out like that, the quality players like that. That could have been a hell of a lot worse, but and then again, he don't come off the line. But I think that's a collective there. I get he don't come off the line, but I just think it's the defenders that are not good as well. You could say that they're not confident in him, but we just can't seem to get this defending the corners right. It doesn't matter who we play. It's just something. I watched the young team today, and I don't know if it's a thing that's going through the club there. They see corners and that. They just don't mark their men. They don't pick them up. So, I don't know if that's just a thing that's set in the club that they need to really work on it. There ain't no doubt about that. You know what I mean? But
I don't know. I've never seen this Martin Space, mate. I've never seen Space score a goal in its life, mate. You know what I mean?
No, well, that's it, right enough. I mean, it was the zonal marking and all that. I mean, all that crap, right enough. Just mark your man. Get the ball first. You know what I mean? But, I think, like you said there, we'll have... It looks like we've brought in better quality players. It
looks like it, but we don't know, do we?
No, because, I mean, they've got to play in front of the Bears and they've got to be able to handle that shot, and that's a massive, massive thing. I mean, it's great, Rangers go out there and win tomorrow for your play, everybody's happy and the people are great, but you know what it's like when we don't win, or even if we draw, the will comes to an end, so it's whether they guys are big enough to stand up to that. I like the look of that that American German boy there. I know he didn't do much. I actually said to him, I said, but I thought he had a couple of little things there, signs there that he could be a good player. I've just got a funny feeling about him. Don't know why. Never heard of him. Never seen him before. I've just got a funny feeling about him. I think he breaks into the team. I think he could bring something different to our team.
Who was that, Andy? Who was that?
Tillman, is he a Yank or a German? I'm not sure what he is, to be honest with you.
Do for me anyway, if we can get him on.
He looks the part. I just got a funny feeling about him. Sometimes you just, Bayern Munich, I mean, that's quality, isn't it? That's a quality team, and they're saying that if it goes well and that they want the first option back to take him back. So you don't usually get that when teams get people out of the club. They very rarely say that, well, we want something in agreement that we'll get him back and we want him and all that. So that's just something about him. Bayern Munich and all that. That's a classy club, that, you know what I mean? So it brings their qualities that some of their players have got, it'll be good for the Rangers, wouldn't it? That's how I see it.
We'll see. Robert, I'm going to put you in the spot here. Season's just started. We've not a league game. We've brought in all these players. Some of them look tremendous. Who's going to be player of the season?
Oh, that is a question. Do you know, I don't think it'll be one of the new signings. I think it'll be one that's been there. And I think potentially it's going to be John Lundstrom.
Okay, fair comment. Very popular, no? Big John Lundstrom, money Andy.
I'll say Jack. If Jack plays 30 games, I think Jack will rock it. Put it that way.
What I've seen, Juicy, and I'm basing this on pre-season because only time will tell. Just because I think his movement's been great, and I think he looks as if we give him the service, he'll score a lot of goals. So I'm going to go for Cholak.
Yeah, that could be a good shout. And I really wouldn't be surprised if it ended up being one of the midfielders, though. We've got the quality there. The only thing that could stop that from happening is depending on how often he changes it up. Because remember, the midfield is our biggest pool of players, isn't it? And, you could have a different 3 or 4 in there every game. And I don't think any of us would be too concerned about it being a drop in quality. So, of course, as the season progresses, we'll get to a more consistent starting 11, won't we? And then you'll start to see that quality come through in terms of, the consistency. I would really love it to be a forward player or an attacking midfielder. So Tillman or a Lawrence, they can contribute with the goals and the assists. They'd be well in there for a chance to win that award or any kind of award. But if it was Cholak or Alfredo, that we've scored a lot of goals this season, so that would be superb. I'd be happy for it to be any forward line player. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Aye. I get it. Goal scorers, if they get the goals, they grab the headlines, Andy, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, you hope the boy does well. I mean, as I said to you the other night there, I think he's a good worker. He'll lead the line. He does a lot of work. I'm not convinced he's a 25. I think he needs a top-notch striker alongside him. But, again, if he proves me wrong, I'll stick my hand. I want him to do well. He has, what we've seen him, he's a worker. He gets stuck in and he seems to want to, get himself involved. Even further back, he comes and tries to win the ball. So that was quite encouraging as well. But although he come back and did a little bit of work there, he's making sure that he's round about the ball and harassing the defenders and all that. So that can only be positive. He's got to settle in the country and all that, you know what I mean? And he's got to get used to the Scottish mentality up there. And once he gets that, he'll probably be all right. I mean, we haven't had many Croats that have been bad, apart from that left back, right enough. But the rest of them all done. They've all been good. So hopefully he follows in the footsteps of Jelavic and that. You know what I mean? And beat that all.
Do you think Barisic has been bad? I mean, is it somehow performances, but with the piece, I think he's precious.
Honestly, I don't rate him at all. Like he's all. See, when he scored that goal, great goal, and against St Mirren, and then he went on a run. But you can't fade out games for the length of time that he does. Week in, week out, because it's going to cost you. It's not rocket science. It's definitely going to cost you. But nothing against the guy. All I've got against is that I want guys that are going to go, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, but just pull out and get 100%. I don't see that out of him. The number of times he gets caught out of position, he's passing back. I mean, that goal against Tottenham, that man, he's supposed to be marking him. I mean, he should. He's been there long enough now to learn how to defend, get behind his man and sort him out. He keeps getting caught,
Are you talking about the second goal?
Was it the first or the second? I can't remember. But he did. The what you call it? What 6 days since that. A lot of work had gone down. But I know he was fault for one of them.
He was up the party, wasn't he? The left hand of the defence, but that's because we control the football and we made a bad pass into midfield.
Yeah, well, was that the one with Kent? Well, with Kent, they passed that ball to that guy, and
that's exactly it.
That was the first.
They passed that guy, and that we could have scored the goal because he'd have been in, wouldn't he? But I mean, that's decision making at the time.
I accept that Borna Barisic is not the best left back we've ever had. I think overall he's improved for team. Juicy, then Robert.
He's been in and out at times. Andy's right there. He took a while to really arrive as a Rangers player, and it wasn't until after he'd scored that free kick at St Mirren that he really then pushed on. You're quite right, Andy. But the season that we won 55, my goodness, his crossing ability, and even last season, the guy can still cross superbly well. Defensively, I think sometimes he struggled when he's been put under pressure. We saw that in a few big games last season. He doesn't balance the side as well as Tav does. Tav is a bit of a freak, isn't he, in terms of the stats, goals and assists. And I think in time, Yilmaz, well, of course, being 21, we've given him a 5-year contract. He's coming in with a view to being the number one left back, isn't he? How long that takes him to take over that position from Barisic, we'll see. But I think that will be, some point in the season, you'll be seeing a lot more of Yilmaz, and the two will just be interchanging. Remember, we've got so many matches to play in so many tournaments. We'll certainly need both of them. And if Barisic does go in the summer, we're going to need to replace him with someone else. So we're still going to have two players there in that position, whether it's Yilmaz or another. I like Barisic, but he isn't the most confidence-based player I think we've got at the club, because there's been times when he's just totally disappeared off the face of the match. That's not good. You need 11 players on it all the time. And so it does give me concerns, but we've seen moments of quality from him, and he's linked up historically very well with Kent. They've dovetailed each other superbly at times.
Maybe that's kind of a problem right enough, because the two of them are not performing, are they? Or haven't been performing for a good while. So you've got two of them that's actually not doing it. So that could be not helping as well.
That's a good point, and that may be why it's time to change it up a little bit. See how Kent gets along, with Yilmaz, and now Kent's going to be under pressure now because we've got Matondo, who's quite flexible with where he can play. You want to see Kent getting challenged in that position because he's you're quite right, Andy. He's not always done it consistently either. So having him under pressure is a good thing, Oxja.
He needs to improve his numbers, Kent. No, that's without a doubt. I think he's played well and showed great ability at times, but his numbers need to improve. Robert and Barisic and Kent.
In terms of Barisic, mate, I agree with yourself. I don't think he's been a bad player for us. I think he's had his moments. He's had a lot of kind of games where his confidence has been knocked. Obviously, most famously the Celtic game. His confidence there has been absolutely crashed. Going back to the goal against St Mirren, he was on the verge of possibly us telling him to get out of the club and leave, and he was rubbish then. He got his free kick against St Mirren. You see what it meant to him, and he kind of went on a bit of a run of good performances after that. And again, he came up to this Celtic game, he got his knock of confidence. So there's been times where he gets a good run and it's just a wee blip, and it seems to just drag on longer than it should in terms of him personally. When Bassey was obviously there, he was out on the bench, and Bassey went into left back at times, and I think that's when you've seen a kind of change in Barisic as well. Having to come into the squad and Bassey went to centre back, he had to improve the performances. Some were up to standard and some weren't. But I think another thing that I don't think we do enough is focus our play down the left side. For me, most of our attacking threat is from the right hand side. Now, that's not to say that we don't do it enough on the left. I just think we're more dangerous with Tav there crossing the ball in than Barisic. He's got a terrific left foot. We've seen his crossing ability. We've seen some of the assists he's got. But if you take the strength of each side, the right side's always coming up on top. I think that might shift with the arrival of Yilmaz. But I agree with you. your point about Kent, 3 goals last season is not enough for the kind of player he is. He should be double figures for me. He's got the speed, he's got the skill, he's got the unpredictability. Defenders don't know where to run down the line, turn inside. He just needs to add goals. Potentially, with Yilmaz coming in, he might have more freedom to actually cut inside more and allow Yilmaz to go down that left flank. We'll obviously wait and see how it plays out, but in terms of goal scoring, Kent needs to improve their kind of numbers. Even assists as well. There's times where I watch games screaming for him to put the ball in and he's standing up doing wee step overs or trying to cut back inside and he'll lost the ball, and you'll see the frustration around the stadium, or if you're watching at home you'll feel the frustration. He doesn't track back to get the ball quickly and instantly. Over time he'll track back and get it, but initially the ball could be in early and it could be a goal, a chance, you never know. So there's times where he needs to just deliver rather than trying to do the silkiness of the football.
Yeah, I think Brian Kent's got marvellous skills, and he's shown in some big games that he's a top player. Dortmund away in the games, some of the cup ties at Ibrox, and then he was doubled on in the cup final, the UEFA Cup final. They made sure they always had 2 men on him, which shows you what they thought about him, how dangerous he could be. But a good point that Robert makes. When Tav, who puts a lot of crosses in, but left-hand side's not getting in and getting half a dozen goals in at the back post a season. But if they put the ball in, Tav's there getting himself half a dozen goals. Just saying. Juicy.
Yeah, and as we were saying about the balance that we need from that left side, that the contributions got to up. And when we won 55, I think Kent got at least 10 goals, so he was into double figures, and that's a decent contribution then, isn't it? And you take that down to just what I think was only 2 in the league, wasn't it? That's really going to hurt us. We need those goals from the 4 players, and yeah, can't knock his assist last season. His assist was good, but it's appearing at that back post. It's making the runs that you see Tav do. I know he's coming from the right back position, but there's just more. It's not the creativity; it's more of the finishing touch that you're getting from Tav, and I think we're going to get that from Matondo as well, that right side. So I think Kent's going to be under a little bit of pressure to perform with the final product more this season, because otherwise he's going to be, for the first time, I think, guys, under pressure in that position, because we can move that forward team around a bit more now, can't we? He's not as dead a cert in that position as he has been, because he hasn't really been threatened there, has he?
I had a bit of sympathy for him last season. I think Stevie G, in my opinion, played him at the start of the season when his hamstring wasn't right. And I think we've seen that against the Malmo game. In the Old Firm game, he managed to get through the tie and played. When, if I'm being honest, and I'll go to Robert with this and then Andy, I don't think he should have played, and he paid a heavy price, because when he did come back, I think September or something like that, October, I can't remember the dates, but he was then going to get himself up to fitness, which I don't think he's been played, because it was obvious that his hamstring was giving him issues. Robert, then Andy.
I recall the games you're talking about. Like Juicy said there, Gerrard probably played him because at the time there wasn't much option at the left. But you don't want to be playing people that are carrying any sort of injury. In terms of injuries, speaking of injuries itself, I think, going back to Barisic briefly, he went to the Euros. He obviously had an injury before then. He played against Scotland for however minutes, I don't know. But I still thought he carried an injury throughout the Euros and came back to us as well, still injured. And I think that impacted his performances as well, just when you mentioned injuries there. But in terms of Kent and his injury, it probably was. But again, it comes back to the options we had at the time. But again, you don't want to be playing MD that's injured. You've got, like Juicy says, you've got players now we can shift around. You could put Matondo out on the left. You could play right on the right. You could place a Carl on the left, but he's not the same as Kent. So although Juicy's saying that he'll feel a bit of pressure on him and he's got people at his heels, there's nobody equally off him other than Matondo, but then you're switching from right to left. So again, you're kind of breaking that balance down as well. So it's a tough one, but like I said, I think he just needs to add more to his game. And obviously, it's not been confirmed, I don't think, by the club, but he's agreed to a contract extension, which is good because he's a great player. It's
not been announced yet, but there's strong rumours that him and Alfie, things are sorted, yeah?
Yeah, I was hoping it would be done maybe today and by game time tomorrow, but
protect the assets. Good move if it's done. Andy,
I can kind of concede what you're saying there if he was injured right enough, but then again, it's down to the player. It's down to say, look, I'm not right here. This could end up being long term, and if that's the case, that as it looks like it was the case because he come back not very good last season.
In professional football.
No, I know you won't. But honesty, I'm a believer in honesty. Say what you've got to say, get it done, not behind anybody's back. Just say it. And if people talk about you, that's fair enough, but at least you said it to their face. All Kent need to do is say, look, I could be out longer here. You know, football's football. We get injuries. His manager, Stephen Gerrard at the time, should have known that as well. I say, well, look, I can't afford to be without Kent, but I've got to look for the good of the team. It's not just about the one player. I think the thing he's got, I mean, let's face it, Kent had quite a few chances in front of goal last season and he put them past the post. You know?
Couldn't hit the target.
No, he couldn't. So, you know, I mean, if he'd have taken, say, half of them, it wouldn't have looked so bad on his goals. I mean, he's a winger. I'm not expecting him to score 15, 16 goals, but there should be at least, in our league, there should be at least 10 goals in him. And he should be ripping up, as I've said here, outside what the so-called big four is up there, what they call, there's only one, which is us, but the teams below them from down on, he should be murdering them teams. Now, wingers are in and out, we know that, and you can't perform every week, it just don't happen, it's just one of them things, isn't it? You know what I mean? He can be great for 3 or 4 weeks, he'll have a bad game somewhere down the line. I hope he comes good, you know, Ashug seems to like me, and Ashug's really bang worried about him right enough, you know, but he seems to say, no, I've got to possess. So, fair enough, you know, if they're going to sign, they're going to sign. Any idea of the length of the contract?
No, mate, no. They've not phoned me yet to tell me.
Well, I think as well, I mean, that's a good thing in itself because that's a good thing in itself because at least if somebody does want to come in for them,
that's exactly.
You know, that's what it's all about. That doesn't mean nothing to the sign. It could be a way somebody wants them, you know.
They could be away in the window, mate. Stop them if the deal's right, eh?
That's right. I mean, that what gripes me is that, you know, the guys just run the contracts down. We know it happens all over that. You know, that's modern day football. But, you know, for what we've get to them, and we've backed their guys to hold, just give a little bit back to say, well, look, I'll sign a contract. If I'm not going to be, at least Rangers are going to get something out of it. That would be a travesty if the two of them walked out the door for nothing. I think we got robbed with a Rebo, but as you say, he didn't want to say, and it was wrote in the contract, so you've got to go with what you go with, right enough. I mean, 10 million. Christ, you see some of them players down here going for up to 30, 40 million, the crap. And he's gone for 10 million, and he'll go on to be a star, I think, a Rebo.
The problem is, mate, that was the get-out clause he had when he signed his contract, you know.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. You can mop your gums as much as you want. Like I say, he was Ashog's favourite player. I mean, you know, he's quite disappointed, right enough, but like he said, the same as what you said. Carried nothing about it in the contract, you know. So.
No, I know. By the way, I watched an interview yesterday with Joe Rebo, and he was still agreeing when he was talking about the Rangers. I don't know if anybody's seen it.
No, I've not seen that one. I'll have a look at that.
Is that the one saying he needs to settle in? It's not.
He's got to realise he's not with Rangers anymore, and he was. If you were a Southampton fan, you'd be thinking, what's this all about? Yeah.
You could see the passion in his voice as well. We could hear it. I think he was kind of generally a bit shocked that it's happening. He's moved, but obviously we wish him well. And like Andy says, I think he'll do well down south, and I think he'll move on to bigger clubs in Southampton as well. Not as big as Rangers right enough, but
you're learning.
He's going to find it difficult walking through the streets and nobody saying anything to him. You know, some nice things that is, you know.
There will be. I was in Southampton a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, gentlemen, we've reached that time in the evening. Last sleep before the big game tomorrow, start of the season. Hopes and aspirations, and give us a shout out as well. Robert.
Aye, mate, good to be on again tonight. Thanks for taking my call. In terms of tomorrow, good to get back to the league business. Off to a good start. Early kick-off, whatever do you want, especially away to Livy. So good to see the boys back in action, and we'll hopefully get the victory. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory.
Cheers, mate. Andy?
For me, I just hope everybody on the show and everybody that follows the Rangers have a really good season. Hope we hit the ground running with gel and we're lifting, quite a few pieces of silverware. I've got the bits all sorted, the drinks all ready, so there's no running about in the morning. I'm ready to go out of bed, bake and roll, and a bottle of vodka. On you go.
Well, you need something to talk to, Andy, didn't you? Your bake and roll, yeah?
Oh, definitely. It stops the dryness, doesn't it? But I've got it. Bets are all on and that, so I'm all right. Because it's 12 o'clock kickoff, isn't it?
Yes, mate. 12 o'clock.
Yeah. So I'm all sorted that way. So good.
Yep. Okay. Give us a shout out. Juicy Bear. Pleasure to have you. Pleasure.
Thank you. Well, it sounds like we're having a party around Andy's tomorrow. It sounds amazing.
Welcome. There's always plenty of drink.
Anytime.
Oh dear, well, man.
Let's kick it off well tomorrow, and hopefully it's the start for a very juicy treble, because that is what I think a lot of us will be wanting this season. And I know it won't be easy, but we know that they're capable. And let's just go get the job done tomorrow and roll on to Tuesday. Happy day.
A long time ago since I had that, a juicy treble.
Juicy treble. I was just going to comment on that myself. A juicy treble right enough. And can I just say, I never mentioned earlier, I heard on Gio's presser, I heard the BBC, one of the BBC guys, and I was told they weren't going to have a appearing. So at least if they're doing what they said they would do, supposedly. Anyway, can I just say, look, one sleep to go, one sleep, and maybe an hour's nap early in the morning. So please, everybody, you know what it's like. We are all Rangers fans. We all want our team to do well. And to other Rangers fans all over Rod, and particularly Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio, everybody do what we can for the Rangers. We've got to keep it going. They've got to win. Give us a 1-0 victory at least, Rangers. Go out there and mollocate them. Keep it going.
Thanks to BH for joining us. Of course, the one and only Andy for Leeds, and it's great to hear from Robert for the report. Juicy and Bridgman for joining us on the show. Fox and Old School Blue for sorting out all our issues as normal. Thanks for listening. Stay safe. Get yourself ready for the game. Come on, the Rangers. And we'll be back tomorrow at 11 o'clock with a pre-match show. We'll be joined by the one and only All Bear. Take it away, Old School Blue.
Every Saturday we follow, we cheer the boys in blue, the most successful team in football. We're Scotland's gallant few, though at times they have been hard. We've followed near and far. You will always hear us roaring from the stands in Ibrox Park. Scotland's gallant few, who times they cheer the boys in blue, the most successful team in football.